There we go. Hey everyone, hope you guys are all having a good morning here. Sorry I'm running, well, not necessarily late, I'm right on time. However, for whatever reason, my computer is not reading the signal coming from my camera, so I have to fix that. But I tried to reset my computer and it didn't work, so we're going to have to go cameraless here today. However, it looks like CPI just came out. US inflation falls to 3.1%, which is going to be a good move here. Let me go over here to Bitcoin just so we can see. Actually, Bitcoin's not liking it at this point. But what I can do, because my CNBC does have a little bit of a delay, I think we should be able to have this added on if I can just get this to work here.
The futures ahead of that, you'll see right now the Dow futures are down by about 32 points. S&P futures are off by 15. The NASDAQ indicated off by triple digits, a loss of about 108 right now. And that's where we've seen things, at least for the NASDAQ, all morning. Also been keeping an eye on what to expect from treasuries, and worth checking in ahead of this CPI number. You'll see right now the 10-year is now yielding 4.15%. The 2-year's at 4.45. Again, expectations for CPI, I think, are up by about 0.2%. But people watching this inflationary number that the Fed's going to be watching very closely as well. Get some hints of what they might want to do next. Rick Santelli is standing by at the CME in Chicago. And Rick, numbers, please.
Yes, January Consumer Price Index out in a few seconds. All yields are a bit lower, and here we're hitting the wires. Headline number expected to be up 0.2%.
There we
is
go.
up 0.3%. That's the hottest since SEP of 23 when it was up 0.4%. Strip out food and energy, even hotter, up 0.4%.
Oh, so it's hotter.
So 1/10 hotter than expected, up 0.4%. Well, you equal that going to May of last year. You surpass it going to April of last year when it was up 0.5. The year-over-year numbers also hotter, 3.1 on headline year-over-year. We were expecting 2.9, but did make progress versus the rearview mirror, which stands at 3.4. Now, if you consider 3.1, we've already been there. We were there in November of last year, and we were at 3.0 in June of last year. Finally,
all right, not bad, not bad.
Year-over-year core, I think one of the ones I'm paying most attention to, 3.9%, exactly as the recent month, December 3.9, 0.2 hotter than expected, and 3.9 is the smallest year-over-year change since it was 3.8 in May of 21. Now, I don't always hit some of these indices, but I think it's important to hit it today. If you look at the headline actual index for CPI, it's 308.
SPY doesn't like it, but the NASDAQ seems unconcerned.
Which means that if you go back to 1913, we've never had this index higher than it is right there. And if you strip out food and energy and you look at CPI core, the actual index, this one is seasonally adjusted. The headline is not seasonally adjusted. This one comes in at 314.43, by far the biggest it's ever been, going back to record keeping in 1957. So these numbers are hot. Interest rates have zoomed up. These are now representing some of the highest yields of the year by far. 4.28 in a 10-year. We see pre-opening equities, of course, moving low.
Okay, I'm going to take a break from listening to him for just a second here. We'll go deeper into and listen to their analysis pretty soon. If you guys are just joining us, sorry I can't show my face. For whatever reason, my camera's on, but my computer is not registering my face. So basically, this is what it looks like, just the face. Like, my face is kind of like frozen, and when I turned on the software here, which is kind of confusing. However, it looks like inflation was hotter than expected, and I'm trying to figure out exactly how this is. Oops, excuse me. Let me go back over here to the middle display. You're seeing Bitcoin drop down, and again, this drop down I wouldn't say is crazy. Again, this is just a drop down like that. It's not crazy bad. Okay, Dow Jones, you're not really seeing much pre-market action here. The only thing we've seen so far is SPY, and again, if we zoom out on SPY, maybe on the hourly chart, you'll see that it's rough, but not like terrible. I think kind of similar to what we're looking at with Bitcoin, just because everything is so much higher. Altcoins seem to be bleeding a lot more because of the CPI data. You got Bonk down 4%, Chili's down 2%, AVAX down 2%, and so forth. Okay, let's listen to the panel here and just kind of hear what they have to say. and then we'll keep on going. I just can't have CNBC playing all too much here, but let's listen to it.
Steve, let's start with you and dig through what's behind some of these numbers.
And good evening, everybody, or good morning, everybody.
This issue we talked about these beginning of the year price increases is something that drove inflation this time around. A lot of big increases in medical costs. You had medical care up 0.7, motor vehicle insurance up 1.4, hospitals up as well. You didn't get much. You got a little relief from the used car world. You had food prices up. It was just a lousy month when it came to inflation. And of course, real earnings also declined in the month. Worth pointing out. I think the other big
consensus was 2.9%.
Rents up 0.6%. So whatever the Professor Campbell said in the first half hour, and what everybody else in the real estate business is saying, which is that rents have either gone flat or been coming down, the CPI continues to pick up. Increases in rents, and not only that, but accelerating inflation in the housing industry as well. What's important about that for the next couple weeks is that the PCE, the Fed's preferred inflation indicator, does not have a big weighting on housing, so it won't.
Bitcoin's heading for a support level here, guys.
Should show, depending upon what the wholesale numbers show on Friday, some continued decline. I think there's a lot of economists that are going to look through this number and chalk it up to a sort of a one-off beginning of the year increases, and still
one-off.
Fuck that. As down. But of course, the market's not seeing it that way. The probability of the rate increase, rate cut.
Oh, never mind. What support? Bitcoin already broke down below it.
37%. We went in with it at 61%, Becky.
Bitcoin's coming down pretty rough right now.
The highest number I heard you quote
Let's see if it gets bought up, but you're seeing altcoins come back down. A lot of stop losses are going to be getting hit right now after everybody bought over here.
Something like auto insurance, I mean, that is something where you can't raise rates until you go to every single state and ask them for permission to raise rates. It took a long time. Those auto insurance companies were dealing with getting hit really hard because the cost of fixing things skyrocketed during the pandemic. It was impossible to get parts. You had to pay for a lot of things. They all went and started asking for increases, and that takes a while to work through. So that might explain that in part, but that doesn't mean it's going to go away. As people renew, you'll continue to see some of that stuff.
So Bitcoin's down 1%. Ethereum is also down about 1.5%.
I think there's this general trend where it looks like January is a time
price
when
action's
they
kind of bouncy
orient
here.
Towards those price increases. Look,
SPY down.
I would say the jury is out.
Nasdaq, we're not getting any pre-market data, which is weird, but I'm guessing it would be down a little bit more.
They're the ones that told the market it's going to
Same
be
with the Dow. We're not getting any data from the Dow right now for some reason.
Does not run a straight line down, that it's going to be up and down a bit over time. So I think they had it right. What is good, as I pointed out in the 7 o'clock hour, is that the market and the Fed are closer together, or we're closer together.
No worries, Richard. Happy to see you back, my man.
The Fed more skeptical, the
when it all goes back up in the next 2 months, then what?
Of course, the market has taken another
I know, I am banking on oil.
See in some of these yields and some of the outlooks.
Maybe rent inflation will go down.
Take another step.
Actually, let's see. Can we find that information?
Okay, let's talk a little bit more about it. EJ, you want to weigh in on what you think's happening here and how big of a problem this is going to be for the economy?
I'm going to turn the volume down just a little bit so I can talk over them.
Well,
it went down a little bit.
The economy, I think this is a really big problem, because what we've seen is M2, for example.
But you're seeing it's not coming down by as much.
Not flatlining, but growing ever since October. The Fed is allowing it to grow because they're allowing all of this money to move out of sterilization to boost bank reserves. That's causing equities to go up, and it's also causing bank credit to expand. But the other thing that we have to really worry about here is the fact that the CPI is actually understating inflation. We talk about how there's this lag in housing and rents, for example, but we don't seem to be talking about the fact that the CPI is only measuring rents. Even the component of the CPI that tries to estimate the cost of home ownership still relies on rents. And because the cost of home ownership has risen 4 times as fast in the last 3 years as rents have, it has grossly understated the cost of home ownership. So instead of being up about 20%, it's actually up about 80%. But that's not coming through in these numbers.
Hey, Stephen.
Ouch.
Stephen, Rick.
Oh, man. He has a point, but let's not talk about it. That'd be so much worse if the CPI numbers, if that was inside the CPI.
I don't know if you saw it, Rick, but Steve was referencing it. This is like the nightmare scenario, Steve. The professor thought that they're too tight right now. But let's say the economy just isn't cooperating, and neither is inflation. So they got.
There we go. Bitcoin's come back up a little bit on the 1 minute chart.
They stay tight, and eventually we get a slowdown or a recession. That's like
there we go.
A blast from the past, isn't it? Where they can't get it under
Let's go to the 50-minute chart. There we are.
Even though the conditions are already too tight. Is that how we get a recession eventually, Rick?
Well, listen, I think that the Fed keeping rates where they're at, higher for longer, is the right decision. I do think that there's certain aspects within the economy where prices are going to remain sticky. But the issue is, Joe, is that the Fed can't really help those areas. Whether it's fire insurance, auto repair, the cost of autos, EV issues, all these things moving forward are not going to be slowed down in a dramatic way, no matter where the Fed pegs interest rates. Much of it,
yeah, guys, thanks for liking the stream. I appreciate it.
And government policy goes against economics, hence we have many of these issues. I think sticky inflation is going to remain, but I think it's a completely different animal than the type of inflation that we're most fearful of in the 70s.
Hey, Steve, I'll let you weigh in on that in just a second, but I want to get Skanda in because he hasn't weighed in yet. Skanda, go ahead. You respond to what you think on that question, too.
I think if we just take a step back into Steve's original point, January is always a pretty volatile month, but especially compare it to where we were 12 months ago, 6 months ago, even on the year-over-year comparisons, we made a lot of progress. It's true that this is a spikier print than what we've seen over the last couple of months, especially after releases have been revised. But nevertheless, I would say there's still broad trends of progress. It's true that you have seen maybe on the services side of CPI a little bit more strength
I'm going to take a break from him for just a second because he's being very nonchalant about the bad number that we just got here, which I don't think is going to help anybody. For those of you guys just joining, the inflation rate is 3.1. It is lower than the 3.4, but the big thing here was it was another surprise. The estimate seemed to have been around 2.9%, and we were way harder than that. I know it's 2.9 to 3.1, but trust me, when we see these numbers, we really want them to be pretty spot on, and any type of surprise is not going to be good. If we were able to get the 2.9% inflation right here, that would have brought us down below 3% for the first time throughout this whole nasty cycle over the past few years. I like the column charts the best, but you can see we're stuck right here. And this goes back to that problem that we're going to be having is Jerome Powell has a few options, and I think you heard a couple of the guests allude to that on CNBC. He has to either hold for longer, raise rates, or lower rates. I think raising rates is off the table for right now. I think he wants to lower rates, but inflation is not allowing him to. The economy isn't allowing him to. And if we go back in time, I know I've shown you guys this before, but if you guys haven't seen it before, what they're basically afraid of is this, and for this I should probably go over and do the line trend here. So typically when we do have a period of high inflation, we tend to spike like right over here, and let me move this down just very fast. We tend to spike, come back down, then we tend to have an easy period, and then we tend to spike again. So we saw that back over here in the 40s and 50s. This isn't usually what people are talking about, fair enough. What they're usually talking about is back over here in the 80s and 70s, where we had that big spike. I think this was like the Carter administration, I think. Came back down, they rose interest rates, came back down, and then on top of that, we spiked again, and this led to all-out chaos. We're trying to not have chaos this time. That's what I really want you guys to understand. Bitcoin's not taking it too well, but we're not crashing as much as we just were. This smaller drop, I would say. The NASDAQ, we don't have the data yet, but we should have the data yet pretty soon. Ethereum is also coming down, and the SPY is still falling down. Actually, the SPY is still coming down, which is a surprise. Bitcoin's found some support, but I don't think the SPY has. So I'll put this back on here, and we can listen a little bit more to what they're talking about.
Had been suggested. I think EJ was there, and the question I had, which is if it ain't broke, as in the funds rate, how much fixing should the Fed really be doing? And maybe the idea is it needs to do less in terms of cutting rates to bring it down to the right neutral rate than you thought previously, with low unemployment and relatively strong growth and still persistent inflation force.
Yeah, I'm definitely up early. It took a lot to wake up this early this morning. I woke up like at 5 o'clock. Rushed and got everything needed before the stream.
And then have to come back around and raise them. So if you've been watching Powell and company closely, they're going to wait and make sure that there aren't cross signals before they actually go ahead and cut rates.
Well, we certainly don't want to have a repeat of the 1970s here. I
Boom.
think Powell is probably thinking about that somewhere in the back of his mind, although he certainly has a lot of political considerations to take into account as well. But the even idea that we're talking about rate cuts right now is really silly when you go back and you look at what Powell was saying and doing in 2018 and 2019, right? Because he's stuck in this Keynesian mindset of somehow fast economic growth is going to cause inflation. Well, what do we have today? We have jobs numbers that are hotter. We have GDP prints that are hotter. We have inflation that is hotter. And yet he's talking about rate cuts at a time back then when he was talking about hiking rates. And this idea of where should the Fed funds rate be right now, we need to remember just how much demand there is in the loanable funds market. We have a treasury that's borrowing well over $1 trillion a year right now.
All right, it's going
EJ,
to
Scott.
it's going to commercial here. I'm gonna hide them very fast. But let's see. I'm trying to just make sure they're actually going to commercial. Yeah, they're saying something. Okay, yeah, it's coming up. Okay. Okay, but yeah. And if you guys are just joining in, I'm sorry, my camera is not working right now, or my GPU is not working. One of the things, my face is frozen. My face is frozen on my computer, so I can't actually show it to you guys right now. But long story short, let me kind of explain what's going on again. And I guess you guys just heard about the 70s comparison here. The big news is we were expecting 2.9% and we got 3.1%. Or excuse me, yeah, that was harder than expected. Us being harder than expected is obviously not good because the whole market was expecting us to come down below 3%. That would have been a strong move. And you're seeing cryptocurrencies and the stock market not really like the move. To be honest, Bitcoin is holding up a lot better than the SPY. The SPY is trying to find some support right now, and it's just coming down. Bitcoin, at least, it had its wick moment where we came down quite a bit. You probably saw some people get stopped out on their positions, which was unfortunate. And then from here, we're kind of waiting to see if we can hold support, bounce off, or if we truly are going to continue down and start breaking back down below around $49,000. Pretty much, I would expect us to maybe come down a little bit more. Hopefully, Bitcoin can kind of keep the rally on and things can be good. Overall, though, you know, it is worth pointing out that inflation did. There you go. You know, we're kind of just going sideways. I think what's happening right now is we're seeing a recalculation of institutional investors and big money. Should they be investing right now if inflation's not actually coming down? Because one of the things that's supposed to be leading this charge here with Bitcoin over the next few months is Jerome Powell lowering rates and that making everything kind of, you know, boom as far as the whole market. I think people were assuming that the economy would stay strong throughout that. Now we're just kind of not so sure, and I'm still kind of optimistic for this year, but I think inflation really needs to not have more surprises here. I am very happy, though, that we did not get it like a 3.5 or 3.6 or something like that. It's technically going over here, year over year, you know, we should have been lower just based off of the year over year action and how inflation has slowed down over, you know, over time. However, we are not doing as good as we thought we were going to do, which again makes Jerome Powell, because he doesn't want to be like the 70s guy, Volcker, whatever his name is. He's trying to think about his legacy. He also wants to think about, you know, Trump. If Trump gets into office, he's probably going to fire him, and he needs to try to figure out a way to help the economy as best he can so he doesn't get fired, because he doesn't want to be fired at all. Inflation around 2-arm long SQQQ. Yeah, what do you call it? It's so interesting to watch this play out, because they've been talking about inflation coming down and there's no more issues, and then like the media does, they have to backtrack, or all the experts, they have to backtrack. And again, we've been talking about this potential, let's just call it potential, to have there we go. The potential to have these double spikes. You know, it's a possibility. Right now, we're in this weird world where, you know, how do I describe this? Let me open up two charts here. I think that's probably the best way to do it. This is rent inflation. Rent inflation is starting to stagnate here, so it's not going down as fast as we want it to, but at least it's still coming down. Let me go over here to Fed debt and then trading economics. Let's see. And then let's go over here to line. Let's go over here to last. Let's go to max. Okay. So you see this chart right here, or can I compare this to something? Oh no, it's just different countries. Okay. So basically, you see how debt's coming up? When we last had this issue of the double spike inflation, whoa, that is not what I was looking for. There we go. Okay. This is 70s, 80s, right? We were not printing this much money. We just weren't. We were more responsible with our funds. Now, what do you think might happen this time around if the debt is this high? I guess the guy made a pretty good point. Like, our government is borrowing $1 trillion a year, and we don't even care as a country. Individuals may care, but as a country, we really don't seem to care at all. And look at that. It's just insane. Let's go last 25 years, right? This is the wild card right now, I would say. And again, we'll see what happens here. Bitcoin's managing to hold up pretty well. That's very good news. SPY is not, but let's give it a shot. Let's see what happens here. Maybe Bitcoin can get around this. The dollar index is continuing to go up. I know we've been talking about this new uptrend that we saw. Weekly chart is probably the best place to see it. We still have a lot of upside here, unfortunately. But I think the good thing here is the stock market and the crypto market has not been caring about the dollar index going back up. Typically, when we have the dollar index moving back up, the stock market will come down just a little bit or stagnate. It hasn't happened. In fact, we've seen, since December, Bitcoin since December, moving higher. Dow Jones since December, way over here, moving higher. So everything's been moving higher. One of these things is going to have to break, but at this point, it's still going to be anybody's guess. It doesn't seem like people are going to let this necessarily mess up their long-term thesis as to be holding everything, Bitcoin, crypto, whatever, NVIDIA, things like that, because they assume that no matter what happens, the economy is still going to be strong enough to deal with all this. And you can even see Bitcoin right now trying to come back. So this might not be as bad as first seen, or it's bad. It just does build on top of itself. But remember, we had higher CPI last time, and I was talking about that. And we had a dip a few days later, or a couple weeks later, but again, it materialized into this. So people aren't really thinking about CPI too much. I think it's just like, it's inevitability. Hopefully I said that right. Inevitable that he is going to start cutting rates. So I think everybody's just going to buy in and take advantage of it. They shouldn't, but again, we're kind of in this weird bubble moment because of debt. Everybody looking to put their money somewhere after COVID. It's a weird one. It's definitely a weird one. Will they come back and revamp the numbers after the fact like they do with employment? Yeah, they try to do it every now and again. I think they tried to do it with the last one, but basically, I don't think a lot of people trust the numbers coming out of the government when they do these revisions, unless it's something pretty drastic. The bureaucracies have a way of fibbing numbers just a little bit to make things seem a little bit better than they actually are. It's just like, I think they happen under any president, really. But I don't think people necessarily trust the numbers wholeheartedly when they do that too much. With job numbers, I think it's more appropriate because they can go into the data, because a lot of people report late. But when it comes to inflation numbers, they usually have the majority of the data ready to go. So it's a little bit, if there's something really drastic that happens the next month, it's a little bit confusing. People kind of like, wonder what that was about. But with jobs numbers, it's a lot easier. Heck, I keep on looking into the camera like you guys can see me, but my stuff is messed up. Coinbase stopped trading. Normally I could just go over here to Coinbase status. Let me see. February 13th, that is today. We are aware that customers may be experiencing increased latency across Coinbase login, buy, and sell. Rest assured your funds are safe. Our team is investigating this issue and will provide an update shortly. There you go. Coinbase Mobile degraded performance and Coinbase website degraded performance. That means I am not sending any money to Coinbase today to pay my my money apparently, but that's okay. CNBC's having a conversation though, but I don't think it's all too important. If you guys have any questions, let me know, because at this point, the SM. Well, let me actually just go over here to CNBC. It's right here. Okay, Dow futures are down 329 points. Again, not even a percent. The SPY is down 1.4%, and the Nasdaq is down 1.5%. Those aren't necessarily terrible. If we if at the end of the day we're down 3 or 4% on any of these indexes, that's going to be a concern. But at this point, again, just like Bitcoin, there may be an opportunity for the stock market to have a rebound here. People, I don't know how to describe this. We're in a very loony time in the market, especially for the stock market. Crypto I can kind of understand because it has its cycle is completely different. The halving, all that type of good stuff. But the stock market's really in a bubble, if you ask me, and I'm really excited to see what happens when that bubble bursts. But it's you got to bet against it, I would say, but not in a way where you have to have a proper time. Tons of ETFs are bearish market. Like having a little bit of a hedge is probably your best bet right now, unless you really just want to go all in, which probably not going to be the best thing to do. Debating going long calm beef pork. I would say probably now's as good as time as any, especially because prices are going to probably continue to go higher. And on top of that, just people are going to start barbecuing. I'm going to start needing a lot more meat. But I hope meat prices don't go up too much. That affects even people like me. I go through a lot of chicken. Let's see. Like my lunch usually is 6 ounces of chicken and a cup of vegetables. Let's see, services inflation. Oh yeah, services inflation. We're just not coming down as much as we thought we were. It's interesting to see how all this is coming out though. Core inflation rate. Yeah, oh yeah, core inflation didn't even drop. Oh wow, yeah. Oh well, we'll get there as far as inflation's concerned. But yeah, it definitely wasn't the best news today. I'll tell you that. I think everybody was just surprised how we came in harder than expected, quite harder than expected too. But Bitcoin's doing okay. Let's go to the 5-minute chart. A little bit of a dip, a pop, consolidation. We'll see if we can continue to go higher right now. Big thing it looks like is the SPY. Again, yeah, we have our first green candle. This might actually be an opportunity for people to go buying in here. But again, it's still pre-market. The market opens up in around a half an hour. I'll probably stay on live with you guys for that half an hour. Then once the market opens up, we'll see what happens. And I'll basically go make some breakfast and go back to bed. 1 hour chart on Bitcoin. Now we've kind of broken down for the first time, unfortunately. Hopefully we can kind of just consolidate and try to bounce off. How's everything else doing? Ethereum, coming down a little bit. Again, not the craziest move, but this is messing with technicals. That's basically what we're seeing right now. Not so much of our hearts aren't falling because Bitcoin took a little bit of a small move or Ethereum did. It's the technicals that are going to come after this. ADA, yeah. You saw a lot of altcoins here. Dogecoin, AMP. Yeah, you just saw a lot of coins have this freak out moment here just for like a few minutes off of the data. Let's go over here to the stock market. Apple. Oh, Apple's breaking down. Excuse me, let me take a sip of tea. There we go. I made some chai tea this morning. Yeah, Apple's breaking down. That is interesting. Now, if I go over here to the weekly chart, is it still breaking down? No, it's not. Okay, so if I go over here to the daily chart, what time frame was this chart added on here? Okay, so we've already broken down and it seemed like it was fine, but I guess the daily chart. Oh yeah, look at that. Okay, let's put this on the daily chart and see what we're actually looking for here. We never actually broke down. I think we're still okay here. Pre-market. Oh, but pre-market it is down below this line right here. Actually, it is. All right. Well, let's hope that Apple doesn't break down because that'd be tragic, wouldn't it? AMD. Everything's coming down a little bit, not breaking down below these larger support levels. Things like AMD, you know. That's basically what we're going for right there. But let me see. CPI ex food and energy, yeah, up 0.4% instead of the 0.3%. Yeah, we are hotter than expected, which really sucks. Really, I'm surprised AMD's even flirting with the 20-day moving average. If we go over here to something like NVIDIA, I think NVIDIA's been doing a lot better, right? Yeah, it's not even flirting with the 20-day moving average. I think, but yeah, it's down from 722 to 707, so even NVIDIA's taking a little bit of a hit here. Again, once the market kind of starts opening up the stock market, we'll have it'll be a lot easier of a process looking through everything. Oh, and Bitcoin's come back down all of a sudden. Jeez. Yeah, see, this is technicals. It's going to be a pain to deal with this. We're just hoping that Bitcoin can try to hold this this old level of resistance here, which is like the 48,969 level. If we start breaking down below that, it's going to take whales to save us from having a larger move down. But for now, I think we're as far as we're in an okay position because we didn't really continue to fall. We've had buyers come back into the market, and if markets bulls are confident right now, they can mitigate some of this damage after this too high of a CPI number. Nasdaq E mini futures dumping 1.6% at 17,670 now. Is it started the downside? It's hard to say. So normally I would have said yes if it was last year, but because everybody is not expecting any more rate hikes, we're kind of just waiting for rate cuts to take over. I would say it's still a toss-up until we start seeing some weakness, like for like maybe 2 to 3 weeks on the stock market. That's when I think things could really get bad. We've had 2 disappointing months of CPI data. I thought one would be enough to get us to kind of pause for a little bit. No. Maybe 2 will get us make us pause, just maybe, but it just doesn't. I'm honestly just not sure at this point. Everybody is so excited about rates eventually being cut that I don't think they actually care about what happens between each of these CPI reports. If the market dumps for whatever reason, people are there to buy it up, and because they just assume it's going to go up. To be frank, I think they have a little bit of a point here because every single time the market has dumped, everything's just it's come back up quite strongly. So they have a point. The economic numbers is fine. You go over to jobless rates or what are those? What's that number? I forget the exact term. Employment, trading, economics. Yeah, jobless rate, right? We're still at pretty good levels. Now, if we go over here to last year, let's go to last 5 years, right? COVID really skews everything, which really, really sucks. This thing is broken. Whatever it is, this thing is broken. I have no idea how to use it. 12, 13, 23. Yeah, so that's 23. This is 24. There we go. Maybe that works. Maybe 2022. There we go. Right? You could say maybe we're a little bit higher than the averages over the past few years. But you know what? 3.7, it's not a dangerous level, right? It's not like it's something very, very terrible. So until this starts to creep up, I think we're fine. So far, non-farm payrolls, yeah, everything's fine. I mean, we're looking good. Now, people's money doesn't go as far because the government can't stop spending money. Remember, at least like people like me that actually care about the debt, I think when we're looking at this and it comes to debt, and I know I'm zooming in quite a bit, but I just want to make this point to you guys. Sure, 2000, debt really starts to pick up a little bit more. 2008 really starts to pick up here. A little bit of a bump in 2016, but just kind of a small one. Then we started to plateau, kind of weirdly. I don't know what really happened. maybe because nobody liked Trump, as far as like Congress, there was a lot of opposition to him. Perhaps he wasn't able to spend as much money as he wanted, and that led to us maybe not having a little bit of a plateau. I'm not really sure right here. But then basically, throughout the rest of his presidency, rates kind of started trickling back up here, or debt started trickling back up. Then COVID happened. Trump took out a big amount of money right here to pay everybody because, the country got shut down. And then we thought, Joe Biden won the 2020 election. I think people thought we might stabilize a little bit. But nah, we're on a freaking rocket ship right now. I don't really know how this gets solved. I don't think it is possible to get solved at this point. I think what America has to do is somehow ramp up our GDP in such a way where we can pay off our debt, because we're not going to stop spending as much. I don't think we're able to stop spending. Again, let me zoom out here a little bit more now. It's just kind of crazy where we are. Let's go to last max. Yeah. Every time we go to that chart, it's just like, okay, we're on a rocket ship. And debt like this doesn't go down like a spike. It's not like an inflation or something like that. So we'll have to figure it out. And, even if Trump becomes president, or Biden steps down, and I don't know who else could become Kamala Harris, I don't know. The debt's still going to be going sky high. Nothing is changing that, unfortunately. So the economy is just going to have to deal with this until it becomes critical. And that critical part is, who knows? I have no idea what's going to happen when that thing goes down. Marathon Digital is down 6.52% before opening. I mean, that makes sense based on how Bitcoin's going, that Bitcoin's starting to come back down, or it's trying to. Let's go over here to the 5-minute chart. We had the drop when the CPI news came out. We bounced back up. There was tons of buyers here, and now all of a sudden we're coming back down. It's just not a pleasant situation. But, those trading addicts who like to scalp, they're loving this right now. They're absolutely loving trading this. And you see this little mini shoulder, head, and shoulder, although this is like the ugliest head and shoulders ever. You're seeing a potential breakdown here from this trend line there, that breakdown right here. So you are seeing some bearish moves occur. Now, granted, it's a 1-minute chart. Don't give it too much breath. But still, it's playing out the way you would expect that pattern to break out. All right, so here we go. Let me pull up this very quickly. I think there's a... Can I play this? Oh, there it is.
Stabilizing across most of our markets. To keep consumers in our franchise, we are leveraging our revenue growth management capabilities to tailor our offerings and price pack architecture to meet consumers' evolving needs. In North America and Europe, while inflation is moderating, the cumulative impact of inflation is pressuring certain consumer segments who are seeking value. Throughout 2023, we increased our affordability offerings and won volume and value share in both regions.
So we're going to talk to James Quincy in the next hour, Jim. And like Pepsi, negative volume in North America.
Right, but I spoke to James this morning.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, we'll leave this on here. I don't really care for Jim. What he says is usually the opposite. And hey, Discount, good morning, Can. So both of you guys coming in, basically Bitcoin's not liking this news. It was actually kind of mixed a few minutes ago. But basically, the forecast was for 2.9% inflation. We got 3.1, so of course, hotter than expected. It was lower than the previous month's 3.4, though. I want to stress that. But this was not a good inflation report. Just not a good inflation report. Bitcoin's coming down, SPY's coming down. Right now, the stock market is, let me refresh this for you guys. Dow is down 1%, S&P is down 1.25, and the NASDAQ is down 1.7. The NASDAQ all of a sudden is coming down a little bit harder than expected. But yeah, so that's kind of the news going on right now. Rent inflation is not coming down as much. Housing inflation is going up quite a bit, and everything related to cars is spiking right now, which is not fun. So yeah, a lot of chaos here in the markets. Mostly everybody is trying to figure out what's going on. Is this going to be a problem? How sticky is inflation really? Because again, it's February, guys. Everybody was saying we were going to cut rates in March. All of a sudden, it seems really stupid to suggest that we really are going to be cutting rates in March. And I honestly, think that's probably a good point. You probably do not want to be cutting rates right now because, again, going back to the old 70s theory, that inflation is going to have these spiking moments. Nobody wants to deal with that. I know I don't. I don't think any of you guys want to. But basically, Bitcoin's not vibing with the 3.1 inflation number, hotter than expected. And you're seeing Bitcoin come down as well as a lot of altcoins. Now, what this means, and that goes over to your question, Richard, is what happens if this kind of tops out Bitcoin and then we start coming back down here below 48,969, that old level of resistance? There's a few things here. You could probably scale out, scale out a little bit. I don't know if you necessarily need to sell, but what this does is it could potentially lead to a little bit more of a consolidation with Bitcoin instead of a continual pump. A consolidation, fine, but if this consolidation leads us to a breakdown, I think there's where you're going to see a lot of people sell off some of their swing trades, because of course your long-term trades shouldn't be affected by this type of stuff. Because right now, Bitcoin's only down 1%. It's not crazy. Now the data is what kind of concerns everybody, but the actual price of Bitcoin, it's down 1%. A lot of other altcoins are pretty much down 1 to 3%, let's just say. Let me go over here to coinmarketcap.com. And let me just, there we go, last hour. We only got one token on the top 100 that's actually above 1%, and that's Stacks. That's up 2.3%. We got a lot of stuff down 3 to 4%. And then, of course, if I keep on going down, we do got plenty of stuff just down 1%, kind of like Bitcoin, maybe 1.5% or a little bit more. But, it's not terrible. It's getting there, like right now, Bitcoin is still falling. So we're not out of the woods yet. And usually this type of stuff does take about a week or so to really get into the system and have the large move. But I'm surprised that Bitcoin's having such a volatile move right now to it, as much of volatile as you want to call this. But I don't know. Here, let me open this back up.
Of course, a float that is very small and a large potential short position in there, Jim, that has just sent this thing up dramatically. I don't know, though. Sometimes these things hang in there a lot longer than you think. The lockup expires on March 12th. Now, I've asked Renee, you've asked him as well, and I remember talking to Masa about it when the company went public. And he said, I want to keep as much as possible, as long as possible.
Right, and that, I think, has kept what I think you and I would have thought was natural, which is an accelerated end of the lockup in order to be able to...
Okay, they're just talking about stuff that is not related to inflation right now, so let's just skip over them. They're talking about ARM, and you guys can see Bitcoin actually making a little bit of a move now. We'll see if we break down below the support. At this point, we have broken down below it. I'm just going to get rid of this rectangle here, and then, of course, I would add a thing there, but I think we're just going to break down below that trend line, so we just did. Making a break of structure. Yeah, ouch, dude. Just ouch. We got 15 minutes before the market opens, but Bitcoin is not liking this move. Altcoins are not going to be liking this move. Look at ADA, Dogecoin, AMP. So your altcoins are going to be taking a hit right here. They're going to be taking a pretty drastic hit if Bitcoin does have this short-term reversal. Only thing we have right now is a SPY. Yeah, even the SPY is coming down more. Remember we were talking a few minutes ago about that first green candle? And that first green candle did not really amount to do anything here. What is the SPY down right now? Pretty much since this news came out. It's only down about 1%. Kind of similar to Bitcoin. Bitcoin's on maybe 1.5%. Not bad. I honestly don't think this is crazy bad just yet. We'll really have to see how the rest of this day, kind of goes out. We just broke out above a Fibonacci level too. Is this Fibonacci? No, what is this? Oh, yeah, we did. Okay. Yeah. Oh, well, inflation's a bitch. We all knew that. Are we still coming down? We're getting closer to that support level. Let me just double check. Let me just make sure this is actually at the right number here. There we go. Yeah, 49,969. Let's go over to the 5-minute chart. Let's see if we can get a bounce off of it. This was that resistance level that was so elusive, so hard to break out above. We finally broke out above it. Let's see if we can hold it. Again, if we break down below it, it's not the end of the world, but I just want you guys to be aware that this is a level of support we preferably would not like to break down below, of course. And hey, Heather, no worries. I'm always happy to help you guys out. I appreciate it a lot. You guys watching in the morning here. A lot more reception than I thought, so I might actually do more of these inflation reports and stuff like this. 48,300. Check the heat map. What do you call? Oh, that'll probably be a little bit down. Well, that's quite a bit lower than where we are. For me right now, I'm not even concerned about that, because that kind of brings us right back over here to where we, yeah, right over here. Right where we were just a few days ago. But it is a nice little level of support, if that's what you're talking about. Yeah, this is going to be a zone to be buying in. It's the next zone if possible. What are we looking at? The 4-hour charts are all turning negative right now. That's not the best of sign. Plus, you got to change the character right here over the last few minutes. I mean, you know, I would say let's just be happy that we're not breaking down below the 20 moving average on the 4-hour chart. That's a really good sign here. You know, we've taken drops before, maybe not as large as this, but at least we have the opportunity to get our butt in gear and get Bitcoin back up and running. There you go. Not a lot, but there's something there. There's something there. Let me see. Oh, here we go. This is what I want to listen to.
I'm just waiting for that to come out. But I do think we have to recognize that
one of
had a big run, and we're not
one of the guys was just talking that I wanted to hear, but it was too late.
From Hasbro. You know, Carl, I just feel like that it's just one of those days where the market needs to take a breather. Nothing wrong with that. If people are going to panic out, good. We'll get the shakeout, Carl, and then it'll make things even better.
Jim, we'll get to a lot of earnings we've not yet hit today, including some of the weaker guidance or misses.
Okay, that's fine right here. Well, while we look at this, Coca-Cola's up, Hasbro's down a lot, Shopify's down 12%. Holy freaking moly! And they skipped over the rest because I couldn't read so fast. Shopify, what's going on there? Shopify is all online. That's not what you want to see here. Put this down now. There we go. I don't know. But if you guys want me to check out any particular coins or stocks, let me know, because right now they're all probably a little bit volatile. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I do agree with Jim a little bit here. If there is a shakeout, there is an opportunity for a lot of people to come back and buy in, because again, it's just kind of a matter of time before they start lowering rates. We're still at this weird spot where if the economy does go into a nasty spot where maybe unemployment starts to spike or something similar, like, you know, we start going down the inflation, recession route, you know, a recession with lower rates, it's not going to be good for the market. As crazy as that sounds, you know, it'll boost the economy a little bit, but people are going to be a little bit concerned. The Goldilocks scenario, which I think a lot of people were buying into, was the economy would stay very, very strong, and while the economy was strong, we would be lowering rates. Sounds kind of stupid when you say it out loud, just because we normally would like to have rates higher in a strong economy. But right now, there's just so much going on from the aftermath of COVID, lack of government oversight over themselves to spend properly. So, you know, it is where we are. And hey, Amanda, what about XLRE? What about it? I don't know what people mean when they just tell me a ticker and they don't say anything else, afterwards. Coca-Cola had earnings. Yeah, it sounded like their earnings were okay. They probably have it over here on Paramount Global lays off about 800 employees. Ooh. A day after announcing record Super Bowl earnings. It is so weird to see all these layoffs. These layoffs are very small, though, so, you know, I don't think it matters all too much. And plus, a lot of the illegal immigrants coming over right now are getting passes to work. They are taking a lot of jobs. Let's see. Oh, that's Pro. I don't have Pro. Hasbro stock plunges after revenue drop, downbeat. Look, yeah, what's going on with Hasbro? Here we go. Coca-Cola sales beat estimates helped by higher prices. See, higher prices. So I don't necessarily buy soda because I'm dieting. I drink lots of tea. If I have soda, it's usually I steal one of my sister's. What are those things called? Izzy's or something like that. That might be a Coca-Cola product. I'm not even sure. But Coca-Cola on Tuesday posted quarterly earnings that met expectations and sales that topped estimates as higher prices helped the beverage maker overcome a volume decline in North America. Oh, so they are making more money because they're able to squeeze it by raising prices, but because of that, they're not selling as much product. So they are really in a weird situation, because if their prices are so high that people are choosing not to buy their product, but they're still making more money, if the economy does go down, things do sour, that's a real bad look for Coca-Cola, because are they going to be able to lower their prices? I honestly don't know. That's going to be interesting right there. Revenue was better than expected. That's good. 10.85 versus 10.68. Shares of the company rose less than 1% in pre-market trading. Still, oh yeah, the people can see what we were talking about. It's not a perfect scenario here. Let's see. Net sales rose 7% to 10.8 billion. Coke's organic revenue, which strips out acquisitions and diversities, climbed 12% in the quarter. That's really good. Coke reported unit case volume growth of 2% for the quarter. The metric excludes pricing and foreign currency. Let's see. However, North American volume shrank 1% as demand for Coke's water, sports drinks, coffee, and tea fell. For comparison, the rival PepsiCo saw volume for its North American beverage unit fall 6% in the fourth quarter. Whoa. You guys tell me, is soda more expensive right now than it used to be? I know that cereal is much more expensive than it used to be, because they even made the boxes smaller and more expensive at the same time. I think I've moved up to cereal bags now. I don't even get well, I haven't said cereal in probably in a few months, but I know cereal is much more expensive, so I assume Coca-Cola is much more expensive. Excuse me. Slow earning growth. Yeah. Okay. So nothing too crazy there. Oh, and yeah, here Bitcoin's making a push. Well, making a push for the downward side here, and there it goes. Yeah. So we did break down off of that old level of support. It's coming down even more now, down 2% here. Not really what we wanted to see, but let's keep track of it nonetheless. Great crash coming. I love it. Let the value of the something rebalance. I long for a world without the dollar. The dollar definitely is in trouble in the long run. As long as America's GDP keeps on climbing, I think we're okay. But there's gonna come a point where we just go poop. You know what I mean? It's gonna be pretty rough here. But you know, you're seeing Bitcoin breakdown right now. This is usually just a good opportunity for people to buy stuff. I don't think you necessarily need to buy a lot. Dollar cost averaging has been serving me just as well, you know. But now we do got Bitcoin down 2%, coming down a little more and more and more. Altcoins again are where you guys are gonna get stopped out. I already know just by watching this chart, and I've stopped out of so many trades already. Like so many trades have just been stopped out, which is unfortunate, you know. But I don't want to lose money. You know, the last few weeks have been pretty good for altcoins. So all those stop losses that have been moving up and creeping up, they're a lot of them, unfortunately, have just been stopped out. So we'll see what happens here. You know, it is what it is. That's basically the name of the game. SPY is stabilized a little bit here. This is a 1 minute chart, so let's go over here to the 5 minute chart. We've stabilized a little bit. The market opens up in around 7 minutes. Hopefully we can have a little bit of a rebound. That should affect Bitcoin a little bit here too. Going back over to the 15-minute chart, now we're starting to see this. Again, this is kind of weird because last time we had bad CPI numbers, honestly, we really didn't have this view from Bitcoin. We had a little bit of volatility, but not necessarily a drop down like this, which is interesting. Really interesting. So we'll see how all this gets laid out. You know, Bitcoin's down 2%. I'm not crying about it. But, you know, my NMR that I was going along, that's down 5%. Pendle's down 3%. Fetch AI down 2%. UFO down 2. STMX is down 4. Spell Token's down 3. You know, Loom is down 2. Oh, there we go again. Link is down 5. Link is down quite a bit. ID Token is down 8. That one's the one that popped up like 30, 50% or something like that. ICP is down 5. So, yeah. You're seeing altcoins really turn into a bloodbath here. So let me go over here. how do I do this? Sorry, I'm just trying to change something up on my screen here, but it's becoming annoying to, there we go. There we are. Okay. Changing something up here on my end just to make sure everything's fine. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. Hey, the Real Transporter. Good morning, guys. Government jobs are way higher the last few months. Well, yeah, guys. The government has the ability to try to help out the economy as much as it can. The government will try to hire more people to kind of absorb the job losses that are happening in the market. It's a brilliant way from a political perspective and economic perspective to keep the economy going for a little bit longer. Now, it's not the best sign necessarily. However, it's not the best sign. However, it's just the way the market usually works. I'm talking about the job market. When people are laid off, they typically lose a lot of benefits and stuff like that. And what's kind of waiting as an option, that's an easy opportunity to get a job. It's usually a job in the government. I've had friends that have worked in the government and they've either hated it or loved it. But I can tell you that's pretty much like every other job out there. So people are going to give it a shot and see if they enjoy it or not. Whenever I go into a bureaucracy, whether it's like the DMV or I went to my first courthouse a couple of days ago, I'm always surprised at the level of people that are just working to, just moving paperwork around left and right. It's quite a few, they're not really modernized even by today's standards, but they have jobs. They're getting paid probably really decent salaries, enough for them to, work in downtown Seattle, downtown Tacoma, these downtown metropolises. So, it is what it is. Let's see. Another sign of the recession, whenever jobs, you were just talking about that. Yeah, I mean, it's a way for the government to mitigate some of the signs that we're seeing. Right now, I think right now it's still up in the air if we are going to go into recession. Me being me, I think we are, but I'm really hoping that doesn't necessarily affect Bitcoin. Because right now Bitcoin's down a little over $1,000, like, $1,100 or so, just off of CPI news. But if Bitcoin were to come down quite a bit, I would still take every opportunity to load up on as many altcoins and Bitcoin as I can. Just because I still believe this next cycle is going to be really parabolic. But of course, right now, Bitcoin falling down a couple percent is not what people want to be seeing. And why did my screen just do that? TradingView must have just refreshed or something. We got about 2 minutes until the market opens up, and we'll be watching that on CNBC here just to kind of see what the market does. But you're seeing a little bit of stabilization right now. We broke out, changed the character here, consolidating. You might be lucky and see a breakout happening going into market open. That could be a really good sign here, guys. Now, again, this is a 1 minute chart, so bear with me, but we could have a scene where we break out and we go higher going into the market, and then later on everything kind of stabilizes throughout the day, and then Bitcoin's okay, the stock market's okay. It's a long shot there, but I think from this pure little technical right here, NASDAQ, no, NASDAQ's not giving me information. Same with the Dow's not giving me any information. Only SPY has some after hours moves, which is very confusing to me. I don't know why. Why am I not able to see it? Yeah, why can't I know the market's closed, but why are you not giving me that data? SPY's giving me that data. SPY's awesome. NASDAQ, psh. 2 liter, $4 or $5 a pack of cans, 8. Holy shit, yeah, Larry, that's no bueno. That's really stupid if you ask me, actually. That's kind of shocking. Up 200% on soda can pricing here. What is CPI at again? Yeah, 2%. We got 1 minute until the market opens up. Let me go over here very fast. Now, I don't actually have Pepsi on my list. So let me just type in PepsiCo. Oh, there it is right here. It's up. I mean, you can see it's probably maybe about even, but it's still up from where it was yesterday. It did have a downward move, but it's doing okay. You know, it's doing okay. It's not great, not good, but you know, despite having like poor earnings, I think it's doing up pretty good, pretty good. See, here's the SPY. Uh-oh, did it just start falling down? Oh no, oh no. No. Oh man, I know I said it was a long shot, but
about is the margin
ouch.
guidance for next quarter, and I think it is a little quizzical. 13.6%.
Is Bitcoin still doing okay? Yeah, support turned into resistance, just like resistance was trying to be support, but it didn't really turn out to be that way.
Okay, so we don't know exactly what's behind that reduction in guidance or guidance that was lower than anticipated as yet.
Yes, they're spending
What the
more
heck
money.
is going on? I think everybody's using TradingView at once because my software is just not. Look at this. There it goes. Okay. SPY is coming down. TradingView is lagging a little bit here. The market's open. Nothing is happening with the NASDAQ here. What the heck is going on with the NASDAQ? Dow Jones? Okay, the Dow is showing a movement.
Let's get that opening bell and the CNBC real-time exchange today at the big board.
What the heck is going on here?
Products celebrating its 125th anniversary at the NASDAQ.
Oh, you guys can watch the open bell. It's always nice to kind of watch that. A lot of red, but you know what? Who cares? All right. Okay. Now, for whatever freaking reason, I'm not getting any data from the NASDAQ. I don't know what's going on. I normally don't like get up this early to start trading and stuff, so maybe TradingView is getting a little bit laggy over the past few months. SPY is working just fine. The Dow Jones is working just fine. The NASDAQ is frozen here. Maybe if I add another NDX here, maybe that'll work out. I already have it, so I can't add it again. Oh, did it? It took it all the way down? No? Why did it take it off, though? Oh, instead of pushing on again, I probably just hit X. That was probably my bad. Yeah, the NASDAQ is no data. What the heck is going on with the NASDAQ? What's it say? Oh, it's delayed by 15 minutes? Wait, I pay for premium and I don't get live NASDAQ data? What the heck is that? That's some bullshit right there. Okay, well, SPYs. Oh, hey, there we go. Here we go. It might actually have that breakout after all, after a little bit of a sell-off. Probably some stop losses getting hit right here. That was probably what happened. Yeah, okay. I know I saw a little bit of bullish action, but Jesus. You know, Bitcoin's doing a little bit better right now. I think it's trying to try to break out. Dude, TradingView is... I don't know about you guys, but any amount of lag when I'm trading is just... Look at this. This is fucking annoying. Okay, there you go. Yeah, there you go. Bitcoin is trying to break back up again. We might have a little bit... There it is. It's breaking back up a little bit here. There we go. A little bit of a surge. That's kind of what you guys want to see throughout the day here, guys. You know, maybe you don't want to see it. Well, you do want to see it get all the way back up here, but hopefully it can get all the way back up here to like $50,000 or so, maybe just $49,800 or so. But this could just be a consolidation before we start moving down a little bit more. So keep an eye out on everything. The dollar index is still staying strong right here. Wow, this is killing my soul right now. It's the lag here. I can't move to different charts and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah. The CNBC saying the Dow is on its pace for its worst day since December 20th. That's not a crazy number, right? You know, December 20th, that was just a few months ago, or not even a few months ago. A good blockchain AI could take all those government paper jobs. Well, yeah, but the government can't do that because then they'd have to lay off lots of people. And how do I say it? The government isn't built to be optimized. You know, I don't think the government wants to be optimized. Can you imagine how much, like, if in order to have AI do a lot of stuff, I honestly think you need to have a city that's just starting out, in a small town. You know, I think a small town in rural America, they could really take advantage of AI in a very huge way. But I don't think New York or Seattle or, you know, a large metropolitan area, I don't think they'd understand how to use AI in a practical way because they have too many, I don't even know how to describe it. There's too much going on at play. There's way too much going on in that type of environment and world where AI is going to give you practical solutions. Metropolitan cities don't necessarily follow practical solutions because of all these other factors, you know, with lobbying and things like that. When it comes to a small town, there's really not a whole bunch that has to be lobbied, right? If you have a basic town layout, the AI can come up with a lot of stuff as far as budgeting, planning, all that type of stuff, all on its own. And you can kind of, you know, give it guidance if you wanted to, but there's not as much red tape in those small towns because, again, there's not much red tape needed. But, you know, I think in small towns, yeah, they can go a long way. Can you imagine New York? Like, can you imagine it practically saying, okay, New York, we cannot sustain this many immigrants coming over. You know, so what we need to do is move them over to a different part, bust them to DC or something. You know, they're not going to do something like that. You know, the practicality of cities is just, it's too hard for them to be practical. An easy way to describe it is every time you guys maybe go through your local highway system and they add a new on-ramp or off-ramp when it's really not needed, and every on-ramp and off-ramp is a traffic it's traffic waiting to happen, basically. They're not practical. They're listening to voters' concerns, and voters themselves are not practical. You know, small town, most people don't really live in the town itself, so the town can kind of do its own thing. A good blockchain AI. Oh yeah. Hey Mike, I didn't see you notice was live. Hey Colin. Well, normally I'm not live this early, so that's definitely a thing right here. But CPI was harder than expected. My camera's broken, so you guys can't see me. Basically, this is the last thing my camera showed, and you can see the disappointment on my face when I saw my head was frozen, just for that flash second. And then let's go back over here to middle display. I gotta fix it though here pretty soon. That's the thing, because I was gonna do a couple of news videos and then I was gonna hop back over to bed. But yeah, guys, so far the market's coming down quite a bit. It's not necessarily like a crazy type of thing, but if you go over here to the daily chart, you'll see that we broke down quite a bit. We're trying not to continue to break down over the next few days. We're trying to hold on here today so we can actually have a nice, stronger day tomorrow. And again, by tomorrow, I mean tomorrow's day candle, which is going to come around in about 9 hours. So it's sooner than you think. So, and again, last time we had hot inflation data, we shrugged it off pretty nicely. This time, it doesn't seem like we're shrugging it off as nicely. Again, maybe because it's too bad. It's 2 months of bad inflation data, not just one. But, you know, there's still some hope that we can shake this off. The SPY is, you know, down a little bit, trying to pop back up. Why is this showing that it's still pre-market? It is not pre-market. I hate the way this thing works. But yeah, so it's trying to have a reversal. The NASDAQ, it's 15-minute lag. We're not going to get that for a while. The Dow Jones is just, okay, this one's actually coming down. Yeah, but it's not even down 1%. Let's just say that. It's not even down 1%. So it's down, but it's not like it's fallen off of a cliff here. What you're seeing is these smaller breakdowns occurring here, a potential for a little bit of a leveling off, and that leveling off opens up a lot more room for shorts to enter the picture, because they really haven't had too many opportunities to say like, oh, let's start hopping in here. So it'll definitely be a fun day for those of you guys like to day trade during volatile times. Let's see. What do you think about Hive Mapper of anything? I don't know what Hive Mapper is, so let me just Google it very fast. Okay, so it's not going to tell me anything about what it does. So, Hive Mapper explained. There you go. See, they have an area for it, just not on the first one. Hive Mapper Dashcam, Hive Mapper app, decentralized network. Okay. So Hive Mapper is a new way of building maps of the world. The project is called Hive Mapper because it's like a beehive. A beehive makes honey by having thousands of bees fly around and collect nectar from flowers. Okay. Seems expensive. Oh, so you have to shop for the dash cams. Ah, that's how they get you. Okay. Let me see. 4K 10 frames per second. 10 frames per second. That's interesting. $300? Holy Jesus, $650 for 4K 30 frames per second? What the? Oh my God. You know what? If they get enough hype, I guess this token could be pretty good. I'm not the type of guy that would actually buy any of this stuff and go driving around because I honestly don't drive all too much. I get Ubers a lot nowadays. Because I'm drinking. But what do you call I could see a little bit of a cult following around this where people get really, really excited about it. I'd rather just invest in the token instead of like trying to earn tokens by doing this type of stuff. Who knows how much money you get back from like an hour of driving, 2 hour driving, and after you soak in $300. But I would say it's probably going to be a fun investment. Probably the market cap isn't too crazy, right? Let me see. Yeah, the market cap is still small. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely toss in at least $100. It looks like they got a lot of stuff figured out. They got, like, they have a way to generate revenue. Looks like their technology is probably working out pretty well. If it's not, just double check with that type of stuff. But it seems like it'd be worth it that they could try to find a way to have a better app than everybody else, especially for those people that like cryptocurrencies and things like that. Especially if they're able to do it global, that could be really cool. But it seems like it's going to be a very long process. So you're gonna have to get ready for that very long process. They can't just invest in like a whole bunch of cars like Google can and go driving around all of Central America, Latin America, Asia. I don't think they're gonna be doing that. But if there's just one person that really enjoys it, that may be a help for them. And Bitcoin's, damn, it's come back down a little bit here. Hopefully we can make a system of higher lows here. Dow Jones trying to find support. The NASDAQ, we'll have the 15-minute data here. Why? Buy real-time data. It's $5 for NASDAQ data. Wow. Annual. Do I save any money? I don't save any money if I do annual. The New York Stock Exchange is $3 a month. NYSE is $3 a month. And over-the-counter markets are $3 a month. I don't do over-the-counter markets anymore, but the bundle is $10, so you save $7. That bundle is kind of nice. But you know what? I already pay enough for this crap. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. This lag is pretty intense from TradingView right now. It's driving me freaking nuts. There we go. Yeah, no worries, Ty. It's right here. Bitcoin sell to 45K. If you want to say that we're going to consolidate and have a larger move down, Let me just draw this over here. 45K is right. Ooh, let me turn the magnet off, my bad. Is right around here. I'd actually just pull out the Fibonacci level and see if it actually matches up with that. Let me add the magnet back on. I think your first stop would be right around here on 47,265. Then after that, 45,460. Maybe not 45,000, but it would probably come pretty close to that if we continue to break down here. Again, just because we broke down a little bit, let me take off this red line here. Just because we're breaking down a little bit doesn't mean we're necessarily just going to crash. We've had these before where Bitcoin has these bad days, and then we kind of figured a way out of it. This right here, you know, spot Bitcoin ETF stuff. Right now, it could just be a consolidation. It could be a little bit of a chance for a shakeout. I'm using this as a couple opportunities to buy, but one of those places that you might want to be buying is, yeah, definitely around 45,460. If it comes back down here towards $44,000 range, I'd be buying heavy right around here. You know, over the next few days, if we're not able to get the lift off back and going up to like 55,000 and so forth, from there, you know, we might come into contact with the 20-day moving average. That might not be good. But short term here, again, Jesus, this lag is killing me. Watch to see if we actually break down below the 20 moving average on the 4-hour chart. To me, that's going to symbolize, we could really take another move down here towards 47,000. After that, we're probably going to have a bounce off, you know, then we start moving back up, higher low situation that would then we drop down to 45,000. At this time, though, we're still looking fine. You know, this is where you guys are cautiously optimistic that things are going to turn around. But, you know, this is a bad news day. This isn't necessarily like something drastic has happened. You know, we've had high inflation for a while. Bitcoin, yeah, wow, what little progress we had. It's coming back down a little bit here. So definitely looking at a little bit more of a, I wouldn't say a bloodbath because Bitcoin's only down 2. But, you know, it is down $1,000, and the higher that Bitcoin goes, you know, the percentages end up being a lot more value, right? So let me go over here. So Apple is officially breaking down. AMD is doing fine. Amazon is doing fine. They're down, but not, you know, not continuing going down. Bank of America, how's Nvidia doing? Yeah, Nvidia is not doing fine. It's not doing bad. It's down 1.5%. All right. Bitcoin just seems to be taking a little bit harder than a lot of other stuff here. Yeah, it might just come back down to around 48,000. We got an order block though around 48,000, so that could be a good play for most of you guys if you guys are looking for some day trading. But yeah, look at this. So we're just not. Oh my God, this is, yeah. Okay, there we go. Sorry guys. I really don't like lags, and like in any part of my life, lagging is just toxic. It's just death to me. Hey Ty, I'm onboarding someone today. They have $500. Would you say go on in Bitcoin and split it up to a few things? I would say I like to split it up into a few things, but you know, a good 25% chunk should be in Bitcoin at least. You know, you can put some in Ethereum and any other token you want, but I would have them or you know, go over some larger market cap plays that have potential, and then maybe, you know, just $20 into something that's more speculative, I guess you would say, or maybe $50 at maybe at max, something that's maybe a higher risk token that they could, you know, say, hey, this is your long shot. But if they don't want to take a long shot type of approach, you know, with a higher chance of risk or higher risk, then, you know, just put all that money into Bitcoin, Ethereum, and stuff like that, ADA, XRP, whatever. Also, should I have them wait till we get a real pullback? We never know exactly when we're going to have a larger pullback. For me, you know, I would probably break it up into maybe $50 a week. You know, that's kind of a way to mitigate that. You know, it's always hard to buy when Bitcoin's close to a high level like this because you know it's most likely going to go down. But heck, you know, I was telling you guys that I don't think Bitcoin's going to, I think Bitcoin's going to have a lot of trouble around like the $54,000, $55,000 mark before we actually even get up to 60,000. You know, to really tackle that 69,000 and so forth. But I was still buying altcoins yesterday, and to be frank, I'll show you guys. I think I was up like a couple $100 yesterday. I guarantee it's not looking as good right now. I tell you that now. Let's go over here. Oh my God, we're up $59 still. Wow, this is great. Look at that. That's beautiful. All right, that actually is surprising. I thought we'd be down quite a bit. So Bonk is now down. What did I buy yesterday? That's the question here. I bought some more Ajax. No, that was the 12th. Oh, yeah, it was 12th. I bought some more Ajax. No, I haven't bought that for a while. It's pretty much neutral the entire time. Ape token, I didn't buy any of that. No, 212. Yeah, I bought some more Ape token yesterday. Big time. I bought some more big time a couple days ago. So, I'm still buying up stuff. I'm just dollar cost averaging, and my average is just moving up. I got stuff like this with Ape token, but that's down 31% for me, but I still bought more of it, That one actually my average is moving down. Fetch AI, it's up 25% up $100. I bought more on the 9th, it's not doing well today, but but typically that's the way I prefer to do it for these long-term accounts. I will have negative, I'll have positive. This one's down $24, this one's down $42 Reef. On a day like today with Reef, it's down 20%. That means it's really down about 10%, So we've already had that breakout there. I might as well add a little bit to this. Let's just go with another $50. Again, it's not like I'm going crazy long here, but it lowers the average just a teeny bit every time. And that's basically what I'm looking for. Let's see. Overreaction? It's more of just going over with economic data. Inflation is not a good thing. Everybody's worried about what this does to the dollar and, going forward. Having 2 months of bad inflation isn't good. We were able to shrug off one. I still think Bitcoin in the long run is perfectly fine. But these type of economic data events, they do matter. They really do matter because it influences so much stuff about what the Federal Reserve is going to have to do. And of course, we all know how much everybody likes to pay attention to the Fed. Bitcoin and Ethereum aren't enough to get you rich. It really depends on what your goal is. A lot of people like stability over the opportunity to become rich, within one cycle. Everybody has their own style. When it comes to somebody that's new to crypto, I usually think that they might have butterflies in their stomach and they may actually panic sell if they get into a token that's dropping like 30 to 40% over a few week period of time. So I typically say having a good amount of your portfolio in Bitcoin and Ethereum is going to be a very good way to keep them kind of grounded. But some people can just hop into the crypto market and not be afraid when the market goes down 10 to 20%. I just rightfully or wrongly assume that there's probably going to be people that are going to panic sell on those times like today, and then they're going to be panic selling their long-term portfolios, which is like a crazy thing to do, but people will do it nonetheless, right? Let's see. What makes a bonk a good potential buy? I've heard you talk about it a few times. Oh, it's just one of those coins that went parabolic. There's no rhyme or reason to what they're doing in the background or something. It's basically they had one of those parabolic rises, they crashed afterwards, and usually you see coins like that get a second wind during an altcoin season. Basically, that's it. There's nothing special about it. I bought it just because it's very volatile. It's really fun to day trade. This is the weekly chart. Now I guess it's not going to give me everything I want, but 1,000% within 3 weeks. Came back down quite a bit, 74%. It's like a mini bull run, crypto winter, and I'm hoping that over the next few weeks, maybe months, I don't know, we have an opportunity to go higher. And me going right here with a 2x leverage, making a lot of money. Yeah, nothing particular about the specific token or what the company is trying to do, unfortunately. Hey Marley, Bitcoin is valued in fiat currency. Y'all saying you're going to preserve your fiat wealth? More ha 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 ha. What do you call? I mean, the U.S. government is probably not going to be very savvy for a long time with letting people, or this the system isn't going to be very savvy with allowing people to buy cryptocurrency. It's all going to come back to the dollar. So even when the dollar goes kaput and, you know, our years of overspending comes back to bite us in the butt, we're still going to be using the dollar primarily, unless you find another currency you'd rather exchange it for, which I guess could happen. But it kind of like, so some exchanges have the dollar, some exchanges don't use the dollar. It's a very how do I say this? No, let me just not even talk about it at all. You know, there are tons of exchanges out there that don't even take US dollars. Like, you can buy crypto sometimes, but it's like through another platform that actually owns the crypto and they want the dollars. But for most of us, it's just the dollar is becoming more and more worthless by the day, and you could feel it. You could see it. You know, how many dollars for this can of soda? Oh, that's a lot, you know? So, you know, we'll get around it. You know, things will be fine in the long run, but there's going to be some real big bumps, and there is probably some opportunities for the government to try to come up with its own dollar, you know, crypto dollar, but it's still going to be worth the dollar, just like every other stable coin out there. So it's going to be a hassle, that's for sure, though. War, yeah, what do you call war? War is definitely going to be an issue here. I mean, we already have a few wars going on. We got the Ukraine war. We got the Israeli war. I think the Israeli war is almost over, though. I think they're about to take over that Rafah. I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't know. I haven't really cared about the Israel war or the Ukraine war too much. They're just wars. I really care about how much money our government is spending over there. It is freaking insane how much money we're sending over. But I don't know. Our government doesn't seem to have the right priorities right now. It seems to be all, I don't know. We're kind of toxic over here right now. Here in America, it's just drama all over the place. Hence, another reason why I'm moving to Panama. I want to relax. I can watch America from afar, and that'll be just as good enough for me. I'll come back though to visit the folks and stuff. You know, grandparents. Bitcoin to 500K USD, but what will that get, the USD get you? I mean, it'll be a good investment, don't get me wrong, but yeah, it won't go as far as it would have if Bitcoin was at 500K today. I think that's the point. Yeah, that's important. Dollars on the way out. See, but what's going to replace the dollar? I don't know. There's not enough people holding cryptocurrency across the world. So there's going to be a lot of other currencies out there. You know, Africa's not moving towards crypto. Latin America is barely touching crypto right now. This is why crypto is going to be such a long-term thing. Because governments aren't going to be able to help themselves and spend money. Governments just can't do it. Governments can't stop themselves even if they wanted to. They tried. I think they tried. They really didn't try. But, you know, they said they tried. Gari, I don't know much about Gari, but I can look at it very fast. It's not going to be doing good. I just tell you right now, because Bitcoin's doing this thing it is. Let's see. Oh, there you go. It's not being traded on many places. Let's go to KuCoin, maybe. Dude, Trading View. Oh my god. I really am getting ticked off with TradingView right now. There we go. There, it's still not even showing all the stuff. Oh my god. All right, I'm sorry about this. TradingView is just getting fucking annoying at this point. There it goes. There it goes. It doesn't look too good over the last few weeks. It's definitely been coming down quite a bit. Let me see if there's any Fibonacci levels here I can give you. It's been trying. It looks like the next stop here, if Bitcoin can't get its act together, the next stop is going to be around 0.0244. Honestly, the way this is going, it seems like it's more of a candidate for dollar cost averaging rather than just trying to buy it on one fell swoop. Let's see. Yeah, showed some weakness right there. Continued to come down. You're seeing a little bit of resistance here. Also, ooh, you actually have an opportunity to bounce off the 200. Is there any historical? A little bit. Sometimes really not. Oh wow, yeah. This thing isn't really looking for a breakout for a while. Look at this. That's a long term out. Looks like to me this is just one long, large accumulation zone where you're waiting for this breakout somewhere, you know, in March, let's just say, and that breakout in March could definitely let this thing go higher. But right now it's continuing to bleed, and even while Bitcoin was making some higher moves over the past few days, this thing really was only able to scrounge up around 10%, which really isn't that great. There seems to not be so much, I don't know what you want to call passion about it. Let me go over here and just search what exactly it is, because nobody seems to be liking it right now. It's a small market cap token around 11 million. That's also probably one reason right there. This is a really small market cap, which is going to make it difficult to get people invested unless this company has some type of crazy social media plan. Number 8 top grossing app on the Play Store, 2 million downloads. Oh, so it's a platform. Okay, well, I think this is a good long shot here, just with communities. We were just talking about Hello Labs the other day. So it's kind of like a TikTok, maybe. Okay, they still have a lot of stuff to do, basically. But yeah, you know, when you look at something like this, I think it's actually an okay opportunity to get an investment into something like this when it comes to social media. But yeah, it's definitely not doing so hot. So they need to increase their numbers, find a way to go viral or something like that if they want to get their numbers back up. But right now, it seems like a very long-term play. Not really worth a whole bunch of money as far as an investment goes. Maybe a couple $100 at most, but realistically, probably somewhere around $50 for those of you guys that have smaller accounts. And look at this, Bitcoin's having a little bit of a higher low situation here. Just maybe. And then we got the NASDAQ come back up a little bit. The SPY's still coming down. Wow, yeah. So we are seeing a little bit of a wow, yeah. Dow Jones is still coming down too. Yeah, the stock market's not looking good, guys. Again, the stock market, it's not cataclysmic. Don't get me wrong. It's like down 1.36%. But, you know, we've been going up so much that this is going to look pretty drastic by the end of the day. We're coming into contact with the 20-day moving average. I think you may see an opportunity for some buying here. For those of you guys with day trade options, you're going to have a chance here pretty soon to see if you can make a reversal play. Barter system. I mean, yeah, I love to barter. I do it every now and again when I'm in Latin America, but not everybody knows how to barter. It's a lost skill, I think. It really is it's an acquired skill nowadays, like street smarts. Can't wait till there isn't a third party determining what that value exchange. Oh yeah, it'll be. I mean, it'll be interesting because, you know, local governments spring up all the time. The state government will still be here. Kind of depends on where you live, honestly. Different areas are going to do different things. But the U.S. dollar definitely is in some peril in the long term. Right now, it's just, you know, degraded. But anyway, guys, I'm going to call it a day. I'm going to go back to sleep, make some breakfast, drink some more tea, and relax a little bit. I am very, very tired, and I need to fix up my camera because my camera is broken. I just can't get it to work. I don't know why. Let me see if I turn this off and on again. Does that do anything here? Off. On. Nope, doesn't seem to do anything. So I will try to fix this up later on today. But I hope to see you guys a little bit later. Thank you guys so much for watching the stream. And relax, guys. I know this isn't the best day here off of the CPI data, but you know, we're gonna be fine. Okay, so thanks everybody, and just keep an eye on some of those support levels. They are going to be very, very important.